Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, not here with Geeky Sparkles in this video. We got a little bit of gaming news for you. We're going to talk about Dragon Quest III and Square-Enix potentially ditching male and female characters. They're going to have gender-neutral looks in their upcoming remake. So this is interesting. This is something that they're doing in a lot of new games, and people are kind of torn about it. In some ways, it's not a big deal. In other ways, people are like, well, wait a minute. Are you saying that like gender doesn't exist? Or I think it's developers trying to sidestep a difficult conversation in current year because we know how these things go, right? If you put explicitly male and female characters in a game, you're going to get dogpiled on Twitter. If you don't, you're going to get dogpiled on Twitter. But I think in a case like this, where you're remaking a game that is decades old, I think that you want to keep the game intact as much as possible. So I don't know if this is a good move. That is my personal opinion, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Square-Enix, and apparently they are trying to pivot back to profit. They said that they're going to drop Sony exclusivity. They're going to go to Steam. They're going to bring back the Gooch, and they're going to publish Mistwalker games. His Final Fantasy-like game. I forget what it's called off the top of my head. We did a whole video about it, but it seems like they're trying to pivot back to profit because they've spent a lot of money chasing unprofitable things like Forspoken and the Marvel Avengers game and all these other things that blew up and cost them a ton of money. I don't know if this is going to be a deal breaker for a lot of people, but we'll report on it anyway. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. This is coming from Bounding in the Comics. We'll talk about what they're saying here. Spencer over at Bounding in the Comics is saying, and then we'll go out to some other potential changes. So yeah, Dragon Quest III is an old game. I remember the big story being that I guess school children were given the day off of school, I think, to get Dragon Quest III because it was such a big deal back in the day in Japan. And then when Dragon Warrior came out in the US, nobody really cared. It was kind of weird. Like Dragon Warrior was kind of sort of a thing, but not. It never took off as much as Final Fantasy did over here, or even Phantasy Star. Sega Phantasy Star, I think, was bigger than Dragon Warrior was over here. It was kind of like, oh yeah, those are out too. But in Japan, they were huge. Square-Enix to reportedly replace male and female options with gender-neutral looks in upcoming Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. Again, we're remaking a game that's like 30, 40 years old. I don't think you need to go that far. In a move that reeks of the company's infamous ethics department, a new report suggests that rather than gender the characters in Dragon Quest III will instead be classified according to their looks. As seen immediately upon starting the original 1988 adventure, Dragon Quest III, The Seeds of Salvation features a novel for the time gender mechanic, which allows players to not only choose the gender of the game's protagonist, but also recruit male or female versions of each respective class. Yes, current year, this is where we're at, guys. Like you're not even allowed to talk about it, especially in the gaming space. While the decision to play as a man or woman ultimately has little effect on the game's narrative, the choice to play does determine their appearance, what equipment they can use, and which personalities, a trait that has slight effect on gameplay stats, they can potentially develop. A memorable, if not inconsequential, element of the overall Dragon Quest III experience, every version of the game, including the aforementioned 88 original and the 96 Super Famicom remake, the 2000 Game Boy Color remake, and the 2014 mobile remaster. God, I can tell it's Square-Enix. They just keep releasing the same things over and over again. They've explicitly labeled the mechanic according to the standard male-female binary, but in Remake, this consistency will be coming to an end. According to a noted Japanese entertainment scoop, an outlet called Ryukuta 2089, is that right? As machine translated via Deep L, rather than male or female, as machine translated. So, take it or leave it. Via Deep L, rather than male or female, the two options will instead be referred to as Look A, clearly male, and Look B, clearly female. But we're not calling them male or female because Twitter will get angry. Gaming journals will get angry. Each look will be voiced respectively by these voice actresses. I guess it's the trend of the times, wrote the unidentified scooper who broke the news. It seems that the game's other jobs will no longer distinguish between male and female in the name. And they're talking about how in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the company edited the scene in which Cloud originally stole a pair of Tifa's panties to make it less controversial. Lots of changes at Square, I think at the behest of California. I think some of it's Sony too. But now, just to play devil's advocate here for a second, it is possible that this game started development under the old regime because Square did lay a bunch of Western developers off, and they said that they're going to try to pivot back to profit. And Japan doesn't really care about this stuff. This is very much to appease the West, and I just have to wonder if this isn't a remnant of that mindset. You know, I don't know. But again, rather than find themselves in the middle of controversy, they find themselves in the middle of controversy. It doesn't matter what you do. You're gonna get criticism anytime you're dealing with gender in video games, right? So we'll see. This is a rumor. We don't know if it's going to happen. I think it's a very stupid change given the age of the game. That's my personal opinion, but we've already got the gamer. This is a site that would totally be down for a change like this. They're already saying that the game looks low effort, but don't worry, guys, it's gender neutral, but it looks low effort, they said. They said it's a hodgepodge of random stuff. It's a cash grab, probably. They're talking about the digital wallpapers. People say it's a ripoff. Most low effort collector's edition I've seen in a while on Reddit, claims a person on Reddit. I normally buy collector sets for Dragon Quest games, but the price is ridiculous. What you get for this? You get $199. Wow. So you get the remake, the full game. You get the collectible game case storage box. You get character and monster acrylic figure set, right? So they look like Shrinky Dinks. You get an adventurous accessory kit in-game and 2 digital wallpapers in real life for $199. Yeah, it is kind of a rip. Like, look, Square's hurting right now, right? And they know that the people that are going to buy this game are old heads like myself, people that do collect physical editions of games, as long as they don't come from limited run games, who do collect physical editions of games, and a lot of times they come with a lot of trinkets and tchotchkes and stuff like that. And this goes back to like back in the day. I had both copies of Lunar from Working Designs, and they had like a pendant came with one, and it was really cool stuff, right? So it makes a case for buying a physical copy. It's a collector's item. But you got to make it worth it. And I think that they could potentially piss off the audience with the gender thing. If it's true, it wouldn't surprise me at all, current year, if it's true. But yeah, when you're asking basically old heads to plunk down $200, and then you're like, oh, by the way, a major part of this game was choosing the gender of your party. And you can't really do that anymore. Yeah, people are going to be pissed. I know they're going to be pissed. They're not going to say anything until the game comes out. And then to put out a low effort collector edition like that, like, look, Square, I know you're hurting for cash. I mean, it took you getting to this point to finally release Kingdom Hearts on Steam. But you got to be smart about how you do it. You got to pick your battles, I think. So I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.